I will never forget my 32nd birthday. The day started with so much hope. The table set for two with my grandmother's china candles ready to be lit, and a bottle of Sophia's favorite Cabernet breathing on the counter. I had spent hours cooking her favorite meal. When she finally arrived 2 hours late, and dressed like she was heading to a photo shoot rather than a birthday dinner, her phone rang. One call was all it took. She grabbed her purse, kissed my cheek, and walked out the door. Minutes later, my phone lit up with her message, "X needs me. Don't wait up." The knife twisted deeper when I saw she had added a sad face emoji, as if that somehow softened the blow. I stared at those words for what felt like hours before typing back a single word, "Understood." Before I tell you what happened next, drop a comment, letting me know where you are watching from. Hit that like button if you have ever had to make a tough decision about someone who did not value your time, and subscribe if you want more stories about finding your worth when others fail to see it. To understand why that text message hurt so much, you need to know our story. I am Izaiah, a graphic designer living in Chicago. At 32, I had built a solid career, creating brand identities for startups and established businesses alike. My work had been featured in design magazines, and I was finally earning enough to afford a spacious 2-bedroom apartment in Wicker Park with exposed brick walls and large windows that let in perfect natural light from my home office. I met Sophia at an art gallery opening in River North, just over a year before that fateful birthday. She stood in front of an abstract piece, head tilted slightly, her dark hair cascading down her back. What caught my attention was not just her obvious beauty, but the thoughtful comments she made to her friend about the brushwork and composition of the painting. When our eyes met across the room, she smiled, and I found the courage to approach her. "That piece speaks to you?" I asked immediately, cringing at how cliché I sounded. She laughed, not unkindly. "Actually, I was just telling my friend how the artist clearly wants us to think he has depth, but the technique is derivative at best." Her honesty was refreshing. We spent the rest of the evening moving from painting to painting, sharing unfiltered opinions and laughing when we disagreed. By the end of the night, I had her number and a promise for coffee the following weekend. Sophia worked as a part-time model and ran social media for several luxury brands. Her Instagram was filled with perfectly curated images of herself in designer clothes, often gifted by companies hoping for exposure to her modest but engaged following. She was beautiful, smart, and seemed to genuinely appreciate my more grounded perspective on life. Our relationship progressed quickly. Weekend getaways to Michigan cooking classes together, and nights spent talking until dawn. 6 months in her lease ended, and it seemed natural when she suggested moving in with me. "Your place is so much nicer, and you are closer to downtown," she reasoned, and I was too enamored to question her motivations. The first mention of Derek came about a month after she moved in. We were having dinner when her phone buzzed repeatedly. "Sorry, it is just Derek," she said, quickly turning the phone over. "He still has questions about the campaign we worked on together." "Derek?" I asked, trying to recall if she had mentioned him before. "My ex. He owns a marketing firm I did some work for." She waved dismissively. "We have been over for ages, but he keeps finding professional reasons to stay in touch." I nodded and changed the subject, ignoring the slight unease that settled in my stomach. As the weeks passed, Derek's name appeared with increasing frequency. He needed her input on a project. He had an opportunity she might be interested in. His new client would be perfect for her portfolio. Each time, Sophia would respond immediately, regardless of what we were doing. Once during a movie night, Derek called at 1:00 p.m. with what he claimed was an emergency client situation. Sophia spent 40 minutes in our bedroom talking to him, returning with apologies but no explanation. When I gently asked if everything was okay, she kissed me and said Derek just overthinks everything. He always did, even when we were together. The casual reference to their past relationship made my chest tighten, but I pushed the feeling aside. I was not the jealous type, I told myself. I trusted Sophia. For my upcoming birthday, I had planned something special. Sophia had been admiring a particular watch for months, stopping to look at it whenever we passed the jewelry store window. It cost more than I would typically spend, but seeing her face light up when she opened the box would be worth every penny. I had hidden it in my desk drawer wrapped in silver paper, with a card expressing everything she meant to me. The week before my birthday, Sophia seemed distracted constantly, checking her phone and stepping out of rooms to take calls. When I asked if everything was all right, she blamed work stress and an upcoming photo shoot. I believed her because I wanted to, because the alternative meant facing questions about our relationship that I was not ready to answer. My birthday fell on a Friday. I had taken the day off work to prepare a special evening for just the two of us. Sophia had a photo shoot scheduled but promised to be home by 6. I spent the morning cleaning the apartment, arranging fresh flowers on the table, and preparing ingredients for dinner. My grandmother's recipe for coco vin was Sophia's favorite, and I wanted everything to be perfect. By afternoon, I had set the table with our best dishes, chilled a bottle of expensive Cabernet, and baked a small chocolate cake from scratch. Candles were placed strategically around the living room, ready to create the perfect ambiance. At 5:30, I texted Sophia, a gentle reminder. Dinner at 6. Cannot wait to see you. No response. At 6:15, I sent another message. Food is ready whenever you are. Let me know if you are running late. Still nothing. By 7, the food was staying warm in the oven. The wine was open to breathe, and I was checking my phone every few minutes. I called her, but the call went straight to voicemail. I told myself not to worry, that photo shoots often run late, that she was probably driving and could not text. But the knot in my stomach tightened with each passing minute. At 8:15, I heard keys in the door. Sophia swept in a whirlwind of energy and expensive perfume. She was dressed in a tight black dress I had never seen before her, makeup more dramatic than what she typically wore for photo shoots, her hair perfectly styled in loose waves. I am so sorry, she said, kissing me quickly. The shoot ran incredibly late, and then traffic was a nightmare. I wanted to believe her, but something felt off. Her makeup was too perfect for someone who had been working all day, and the dress seemed more appropriate for a night out than a professional setting. Still, I smiled and told her dinner was ready. It looks beautiful, she said, glancing at the table. Let me just freshen up quickly. While she was in the bathroom, her phone left on the counter lit up with a call. The name Derek flashed on the screen. When Sophia returned, I mentioned casually that her phone had rung. Oh, I should check that, she said, reaching for it. With what seemed like too much urgency, she took the phone to our bedroom, closing the door behind her. 10 minutes passed. The candles were burning lower, the food cooling once again. When Sophia finally emerged, her expression had completely changed. I need to go, she said, already gathering her purse. Go where we have not even had dinner yet. It is my birthday. Remember, I tried to keep the hurt from my voice. I know, and I am so sorry. She did not meet my eyes. Derek is having a crisis. His big presentation tomorrow is falling apart, and he needs help restructuring it. You know how important this client is for his business. More important than your boyfriend's birthday. The words came out sharper than intended. Sophia finally looked at me, her expression a mixture of guilt and impatience. It is not like that. This is professional. He does not have anyone else who understands the project like I do. She grabbed her coat. I will make it up to you tomorrow. We can celebrate all day. I promise. Before I could respond, she was kissing my cheek and moving toward the door. Do not wait up. This might take a while. The door closed behind her with a soft click that somehow sounded deafening in the silent apartment. Minutes later, my phone buzzed with a text. X needs me. Do not wait up. I sat alone at the carefully set table, the candles casting shadows across the untouched plates. The message kept replaying in my mind. X needs me. Not client needs me, or work emergency. She had not even tried to maintain the pretense. I poured myself a glass of the expensive wine and stared at the chair where Sophia should have been sitting. In that moment, the full weight of our relationship hit me like a physical blow. All the late-night calls, the unexplained absences, the way she lit up when Derek's name appeared on her phone. I had been blind by choice, ignoring what was right in front of me. I sat with my glass of wine for nearly an hour, turning the situation over in my mind. At first, I felt only hurt, a deep aching pain that settled in my chest. This gradually transformed into anger as I replayed not just tonight but countless other nights when Sophia had prioritized Derek over me. The anger, hot and clarifying, finally gave way to something colder and more resolute decision. Our shared laptop sat on the coffee table. Sophia often used it when her MacBook was charging. On impulse, I opened it and found she was still logged into her email. I had never snooped before, had never wanted to be that kind of boyfriend. But now, with her words, "X needs me," still burning in my mind, I felt justified. What I found confirmed my worst fears. Dozens of emails between Sophia and Derek dating back months. Plans to meet when she told me she was at photo shoots. Inside jokes and references to times spent together. In one particularly painful exchange from just 2 days ago, Derek had written, "Looking forward to our special night on Friday. I know it is your boyfriend's birthday, but he will understand why work comes first." Write Sophia's response. "Izaiah is sweet, but naive. I will come up with something. He always believes me." I closed the laptop, a strange calm settling over me. The decision I had been struggling with suddenly became crystal clear. This relationship was not just broken. It had been a facade from the beginning. Sophia had been using me for stability, for my apartment perhaps, even for my adoration, all while maintaining her real relationship with Derek. With methodical precision, I went to the closet we shared. Sophia's side was packed with designer clothes, many still bearing tags, because she was saving them for a special occasion. I began removing them piece by piece. The Prada dress she wore to my company party. The Gucci blouse she claimed was a gift from a brand she promoted. The Christian Louboutin heels she said were essential for her modeling career. Next came her extensive collection of handbags, carefully stored in dust bags on the top shelf. The Louis Vuitton tote, the Chanel crossbody, the Hermes scarf she had casually mentioned, cost more than my first car. All of it went into suitcases and boxes I found in our storage closet. I worked with the focus of someone performing surgery, removing every trace of Sophia from my space, my life. When the bedroom and bathroom were done, I moved to the living room, gathering makeup, jewelry, and the various luxury items she had scattered throughout our shared space. By midnight, 3 suitcases and 4 boxes contained the material evidence of Sophia's presence in my life. Everything except the basics. I left her toothbrush, some casual clothes, and her laptop. Everything else, all the expensive items she treasured, were packed away. I searched through her emails again, looking for Derek's address. I found it on an invoice for a delivery of champagne she had sent him last month, a date that coincided with a weekend she told me she was visiting her sister. The invoice showed a penthouse apartment in the Gold Coast, one of Chicago's most expensive neighborhoods. With the address in hand, I called a 24-hour courier service. Yes, they could do a late-night delivery. Yes, it would cost extra. No, that was not a problem. While waiting for the courier, I wrote a simple note on a piece of paper. "She is yours now. All of her. Izaiah." I slipped it into the outside pocket of the largest suitcase. The courier arrived just after 1 a.m, loading Sophia's possessions into his van with raised eyebrows but no questions. I paid the rush fee, adding a generous tip, and specified that the delivery must be made immediately regardless of the hour. After the van pulled away, I blocked Sophia's number, removed her from all my social media accounts, and changed my Instagram and Facebook status to single. Then I returned to the dining room, blew out the long, burnt-down candles, and poured myself another glass of wine. For the first time in months, perhaps the first time since meeting Sophia, I felt truly clear-headed. The beautifully wrapped watch remained in my desk drawer untouched. The pounding on my door began at 4:30 in the morning. I had finally fallen into a restless sleep on the couch, not wanting to lie in the bed we had shared. My phone had been ringing from unknown numbers for the past hour, but I had ignored it. Now the aggressive knocking made it impossible to maintain my isolation. Izaiah opened the door. "I know you are in there." Sophia's voice was shrill, panicked in a way I had never heard before. I remained silent, watching as the doorknob rattled. Thank goodness I had changed the smart lock code before going to sleep. "This is not funny. Open the door right now. We need to talk about what you did." My phone began ringing again. This time, against my better judgment, I answered. "What the hell is wrong with you?" The voice was male, angry, and vaguely familiar, though I had only heard it in the background of calls with Sophia. "Derek, I presume." My voice sounded calm, detached even to my own ears. "Yes, it is Derek. Your girlfriend showed up at my door an hour ago with all her belongings and is now making a scene in my lobby. Security is threatening to call the police." "That sounds like a personal problem between you and your girlfriend," I replied. From what I gathered from her texts and your emails, she made her choice quite clear. There was a pause. "What emails? What are you talking about?" "The emails where you two planned your special night on my birthday. The ones where Sophia called me sweet but naive. The ones detailing all the times she was with you when she told me she was working." My voice remained steady, though my hand gripped the phone tightly. I just helped expedite what was already happening. "Look, man, you have got this all wrong," Derek said, his tone shifting from anger to something more cautious. "Sophia and I are not together. Yes, she came over tonight to help with a presentation, but that was it. We broke up over a year ago. Then why does she drop everything whenever you call? Why has she been lying to me about seeing you?" Another pause, longer this time. "I do not know what she has told you, but there is nothing romantic between us. I am engaged to someone else. Sophia has been helping me because she knows the client, that is all." The claim caught me off guard. If they were not involved romantically, then why all the secrecy? Why the email about their special night? Then explain the emails I found, I challenged. "Explain why she left my birthday dinner the minute you called." Derek sighed heavily. "The special night was referring to my engagement party. I invited Sophia because she knows my fiancé. As for tonight, she offered to help finalize my presentation for tomorrow because she worked with this client before. I did not know it was your birthday, man. She never mentioned that." My mind raced, trying to reconcile this new information with what I thought I knew. Before I could respond, Derek continued. "Look, I do not want to get in the middle of your relationship drama. Sophia is not my responsibility. I need her to leave my building before my fiancé comes home and gets the wrong idea. Can you please deal with your girlfriend?" "She is not my girlfriend anymore," I said firmly. "And I am not responsible for where she goes now." As if on cue, the pounding on my door intensified. Sophia's voice carried clearly through the wood. "I know you can hear me. You had no right to send my things to Derek. Do you know how embarrassing that was? Open this door right now." Derek must have heard her through the phone. "Jesus, she is still making a scene at your place too. This woman is unhinged. I changed the locks," I informed him, "and I suggest you do the same after she leaves." Apparently, neither of us really knew who we were dealing with. The call ended abruptly, likely because Derek had more pressing matters to handle. I turned my phone off completely and put in earplugs to drown out Sophia's continued assault on my door. Eventually, the building security would handle it. I had already texted the night manager explaining the situation. As I lay back on the couch staring at the ceiling, I felt a strange mixture of emotions. Anger at Sophia's betrayal, confusion about what was really going on between her and Derek. But predominantly underneath it all was an overwhelming sense of relief. Whatever the truth was about her relationship with Derek, one thing was clear. Sophia had been lying to me all along. And now, I was free. The next morning, after Sophia had finally given up and the hallway was quiet, I received an email from her. The subject line read, "We need to talk. Please." Against my better judgment, I opened it. Sophia requested we meet at a coffee shop near my apartment that afternoon. She promised to explain everything, if I would just hear her out. Part of me wanted to delete the email and move on, but a larger part needed closure, needed to understand the web of lies I had been living in. I replied with a simple 4 p.m. and nothing more. I arrived at the cafe early, choosing a table in the corner where we would have some privacy but still be in a public place. When Sophia walked in at precisely 4, I barely recognized her. Gone was the polished, confident woman who had left my apartment the night before. This Sophia looked exhausted with puffy eyes, unwashed hair pulled into a messy bun, and none of her usual immaculate makeup. She slid into the chair across from me, hands immediately wrapping around the mug of coffee I had ordered for her out of habit. "Thank you for meeting me," she began, voice rough, as if she had been crying for hours. "What you did last night was completely uncalled for. Not an apology, not an explanation, an accusation." I felt my resolve strengthen. "What I did, I kept my voice low but firm. You abandoned me on my birthday to run to your ex. You did not even try to hide it." "It was not like that," she insisted. "Derek needed my help with work. It was important. More important than my birthday. More important than our relationship." "And why did your message specifically say, 'X needs me,' if it was just about work?" She looked down at her coffee. "I was in a hurry. I did not think about how it sounded. And all the emails between you two, all the times you lied about where you were going, were those just misunderstandings too?" Color rose to her cheeks. "You went through my emails. How dare you invade my privacy like that? How dare I? How dare you lie to my face for months?" I noticed people at nearby tables glancing our way and lowered my voice again. "Just tell me the truth, Sophia. Were you seeing Derek the whole time we were together?" She held my gaze for a moment before her shoulders slumped. "Not the whole time. It started again about 3 months ago. So you have been cheating on me." "It is complicated," she said, running a hand through her hair. "Derek and I have history. When he reached out about working together again, old feelings resurfaced. I tried to fight it, but what you decided, it was easier to string me along while you figured things out with him." Her silence was confirmation enough. I took a deep breath, trying to maintain my composure. Why stay with me? If you wanted to be with him, why keep up this charade? Sophia's answer, when it came, was brutally honest. "You were safe, reliable. Derek has always been unpredictable, but your life is stable. Your apartment is nicer than any place I could afford on my own. You treated me well. I guess I wanted to keep that security while I figured out if Derek was serious this time." The calculated nature of her reasoning hit me like a physical blow. "So I was just convenient. A nice place to stay while you pursued the relationship you really wanted." "That is not fair," she protested, but weakly. "I did care about you, Izaiah. I still do. Not enough to be honest. Not enough to respect me on my birthday. Not enough to be faithful." I stood up, unable to sit across from her any longer. "Derek told me he is engaged to someone else." "Did you know that?" Sophia's face fell. "He told you, yes. So, it seems you have been lying to both of us. Congratulations. Izaiah, please." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. Let me come home, and we can work through this. That is not my home anymore. You made sure of that when you chose Derek over me." Repeatedly. Where am I supposed to go? All my things are scattered between Derek's place and who knows where else. That is not my problem anymore. I put a $20 bill on the table to cover the coffees. "I will have the rest of your things packed up. You can have your friend pick them up from the lobby. The doorman will have them." As I turned to leave, Sophia called after me. "You cannot just throw me away like this. After everything we have been through." I paused, looking back at her one last time. I am not throwing you away, Sophia. I am setting myself free. Thank you for giving me the best birthday gift possible, clarity. The 6 months following that coffee shop conversation were a period of rebuilding. I changed the locks permanently, boxed up the remainder of Sophia's belongings, and had them delivered to her friend's apartment. I deleted all our photos, rearranged the furniture, and eventually repainted the walls a color I had always preferred, but Sophia had vetoed. The first few weeks were the hardest. The apartment felt too quiet, too empty. I would catch myself picking up my phone to text her about something interesting that happened at work or turning to comment on a show we used to watch together. Each time, the realization that she was gone hit anew. But gradually, things began to change. I reconnected with friends I had neglected during my relationship with Sophia. I threw myself into new design projects, creating some of my best work. I joined a cooking class, rediscovering a passion I had downplayed, because Sophia preferred eating out to home-cooked meals. The more distance I gained from the relationship, the more clearly I could see its toxic patterns. How Sophia would subtly criticize my choices until I changed them to suit her preferences. How she would create drama and then expect lavish apologies from me to resolve it. How she would use intimacy as a reward and withhold it as punishment. These realizations did not come all at once, but unfolded over time as I processed our relationship with the help of a therapist and supportive friends. I learned about setting boundaries, about recognizing red flags I had previously ignored, about valuing myself enough to expect honest communication and respect. Occasionally, I would see updates about Sophia on social media through mutual friends. She had moved on to dating a real estate developer, posting perfectly staged photos in his luxury high-rise. Rather than feeling jealous, I felt a profound sense of relief that it was someone else buying the designer gifts and dealing with the late-night emergencies now. On my 33rd birthday, I hosted a small gathering at my apartment. A few close friends, good food I cooked myself, and no drama. As I looked around at the genuine connections I had rebuilt and strengthened, I could not help but compare it to the previous year's disaster. Just before midnight, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Happy birthday. I miss what we had. Maybe we could try again, Sophia." I read it once, then deleted it without responding. Some doors are better left closed. Sometimes the best birthday gift is the painful truth that sets you free. What difficult realization became your turning point? Share your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories about finding strength through challenging times. And if you know someone who might need to hear this message, share this video with them. Thank you for listening. And remember, the moment you choose your own worth is the moment your life truly begins.